Good Wednesday hump day, everybody. This is another installment of Crow Tribe Conversations. And for those who haven't seen recordings before, wonder, what do you call it that? Well, this is a conversations that are with and about members and contributors to North Lake Washington Business Connection. We have a website, nlwbc.org, North Lake Washington Business Connection. Focus on the word connection, which is really important. Well, all of that is too hard to say. That's harder to say than Schwarzenegger. And my good friend Forrest started referring to us as the Crow Tribe. Well, why would he do that? Well, that's our logo because we're geographically kind of focused on the town of Kenmore, but more broadly the arc of Seattle, north around Lake Washington over to Bellevue, kind of sort of. And crows are all over Kenmore, and that's our logo. And Forrest rather cleverly just referred to as such in some other comment. Well, it just stuck. So without further ado, Forrest was our first interview when we're trying to shape this, and we've done 9 more interviews. It seemed like, okay, interview number 11 ought to be Forrest. And I think maybe by the 21st episode, it may well be Forrest again. So Forrest, welcome to the party, brother. You're my good friend and partner, and let's have some fun.
Good, Brian. Well, you know what? You've got a unique quality about you, which is the professional skills you have after years of working in the suit and tie business, after working for a high-tech manufacturing company, the things that you have done that shape how you interact with people. And when I got a chance to meet you at the Rotary Club in Poulsbo, what began from there was I call it a very healthy connection between a group of people that you had called together, and with me as a new guy in town. It was really important to me and uplifting for me. Why? Because I got a chance to see inside a bit, not just what people do professionally, but who are they and how do they show up and what do they laugh about and all the things that go into that. So for you as a business guy who also brings heart and class and compassion to the game, it's really important. And at least it's a big value for me that I'm here to support people and give them caring and play fair, play really fair. Let me just say that.
Where's that coming from? Why do you use that phrase?
Because boy, oh boy, over the years, have we all run into people who could take advantage financially or otherwise grab power and control over our interaction. And when others do not do that, it is what I would call fair play. And to me, I've always been committed to a good outcome for people. I've never been a sharp edge jerk who tries to win because I can overpower the other person. Not good, not good. And to me, the North Lake Washington Circle had that vibe to it. There was a friendly attraction around your invitation. You did something which I'm holding as an important word and a guidepost for this year, which is welcoming. I'm into welcoming people to the conversation with me, to the conversation with each other, and with their authentic selves. Now, you've heard me tell the little story about years ago in Thailand. There was a beautiful big clay statue of the Buddha. And as I tell this story, even again, it's very inspiring to me because what happened was the monks there at that place decided they finally had enough resource to build an enclosure around this Buddha statue. So they wanted to do that and make sure to preserve the beauty of this big animal, this big statue. So what they did is they put some ropes around it. Okay, I'm just going to move this over here and then build the structure. What happened is the ropes just snapped and just forget it. And what happened is part of the clay covering broke off, and what was revealed, everybody, was the statue inside was solid gold. And what do we take from that? I think that pulling back to the Crow Tribe, What we've seen happen is we get a look into the poetry and you'd say the unfolding story of each person in the circle. Some of them are more frequent flyers with the group, some are not. But you know what? That's okay. I think what we're seeing is the true person, forgetting about just the costume they wear to the office, but absolutely valuing and seeing the heart of people. And we all want to be liked. Yeah, that's true. Let's not hide that. But what you have done, I think, is attract a bunch of people who appreciate your personality. And if there's any part of you that doesn't feel uh, that you're being seen, that's not cool. You've got a great soul and a great heart, and I appreciate you very much as my friend.
Likewise, brother. I'm curious when you use that, put those two words together, play fair. I'm wondering, I'm guessing that notion, and for you to speak that out loud suggests maybe you had some experience with bullies or bullying, whether it's
Oh,
literal or something adjacent to that.
yeah, very much.
Is that true? And so what was that experience and how,
Very, very true. I was in a real estate deal. My brothers and I were the money people for a real estate deal, and the lender involved was this outfit. I forget the name of them. They deserve to be forgotten. But this guy had a chance somehow to interpret the contract that they could keep our deposit, the money that we had on hand. It was $105,000. And this person, quote unquote person, absolutely was a little bully son of a. And what happened was, it turned out in the midst of everything, I'm not even sure why or how, but I think we eventually gave in on some points and moved ahead with the project another way. But that little punk used his position and his made up story to steal some of our money. And have I been bullied before by people? Yeah, way back when. And I mean, this was in the street on the way home from school one day. There was this
Mhm.
guy named Archie Comstock. It's funny, I remember his name, Archie
Mm.
Comstock, and he decided he's going to overpower me and my brothers. And at some point, this is not my usual style, Brian, but at some point, I uh, I took a swing and punched him in the mouth,
Mm.
and the game changed. He no longer tormented me or my brothers. I'm thinking of one more event. In high school, there was a guy named
Mhm.
Tom Wright, who was actually quite wrong, but this was at a party, and he kept coming up to me like, okay, man, okay, with his fists up and coming at me like it's time to fight. And I go, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it was a complete bully moment. I look back on it now after my later history as a martial artist and think about how I might have handled that differently. But uh, at the time, I was scared and I had to back up and back away out of the range of his stupid attack. Uh,
Oh, what town was this that this happened?
this was
Just go to
in
the latter one, the Tom Wright one. Was that
Los
what part of the
An-
country?
this was Los Angeles way back
Okay.
when. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and I think you're asking some good questions. What makes each of us the person that we are today? And I think that is a big theme in the Crow tribe. At least it is for me, and uh, hopefully others agree. You get some of the other players that you have interviewed, some of them
Mhm.
in the prior 10 segments. But what a good thing it is to slow down, to stop, and to see people as their true self underneath the clay exterior, the underneath the costume that they wear to business.
Well, I want to get to some of your what's underneath. You have your own circle and probably don't get asked questions as often as you are more apt to do that. But
True.
since that first recording a year or more ago, some things have changed for you professionally, and now you're promoting something you refer to as the kind tribe.
Yes.
Talk about what changed but more importantly, why?
Yeah, good, Brian. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I really thank you for this question and for this exploration. After 40 years as a realtor and watching the incredible ups and downs for people about their money, their life savings, and where they're going to live. Oh my God. Those are some pretty basic fundamental things. So getting a view into people's lives that way has shown me, first of all, where do people value uh, their life and where they want to live? How do they react to that? How do they get scared and all that? And it was from that place that I called together what I called the Kitsap Circle, which is a group of people, you among them, a group of professionals who could help people solve some problems and solve some questions and solve some mysteries like the tax code and so on. Well, uh, as that was forming over the last 2 years, and we'd have these weekly calls and wonderful people on those calls, I finally realized there's a bigger playing field, which is, it'll be symbolized. Those of you who are just listening, you won't see what I'm holding to the camera, but here is a, a blue globe, which is the earth. This was given to me by a wonderful business partner, and it's heavy. What I would say is the world is not simpler. It is more complicated, yes, but it's more reachable. And what I want to really say is that the world is more reachable now than it was before. So, part of what I'll turn back to again and again is encouraging you to trust your personality, Brian, your personality, your heart, your friendliness, the fact that you can be friendly and lighthearted as well as professional. Those are all really good qualities. And this world is small enough to feel it. When you are nice to somebody and invite them into your world, the world vibrates better.
All right, I appreciate you, brother. I want to, before you deflect anymore, I want to come back and the choice of,
Deflect. Before you
yeah,
deflect anymore, I like that.
you're not so fast, man. So kind tribe,
Yes,
even the word choice, and there's it dovetails with ageless path, which is still a brand and a pursuit and a cause of
yes,
yours. But
it is.
how are
Yes.
those? How is the ageless path different from the kind tribe and the people you're inviting to those two
Great.
thoughts?
Good questions, actually. Well, you know what developed is I was writing chapters of a book called How to Age Gracefully on the Ageless Path. Now, what does that mean? It is a series of thoughts and stories and suggestions about living a more vital life, one more on purpose. Many people, as they get past retirement, they lose their sense of balance and purpose. And particularly men are good at this. And they retreat into alcohol, anger, retreat into their chair. They watch TV. They lose their magic. And so, my kind tribe, excuse me, the Ageless Path is a book which is literally being printed now, and it's I'm very proud of this little book coming out, which I'd like to share with everybody who's listening if you're curious. But what it is, it suggests that every day of the week is a reminder day to focus on our being staying money smart, keeping our friendships fresh, absolutely getting our end of life documents in place, the will, power of attorney, medical directive, that kind of stuff. And also
Mhm.
to consider how do we redirect our life in a way that we are more real and the clay that covers us breaks off and we get to be our solid gold self. So it's from that, hmm, what came about was the idea of ourkindtribe.com. As our website develops and as our YouTube channel opens up, you all can go and look at ourkindtribe.com. My picture of that, Brian, is that the world is far more reachable than it used to be. You reachable by YouTube and by Zoom and audio and the things that you and I are doing today. But also, people I think are longing for a sense of unity that comes from knowing people that yesterday might have seemed like foreigners. When you and I have traveled to places like Thailand or to Mexico or whatever, you go to
Mm-hmm.
these places where people have absolutely nothing. They have no financial base, but they're kind, they're sweet, they're open-hearted. How does that happen? How do we understand the cultures of different places that are some of them very poor, and yet
Mm-hmm.
elegantly open to connection and friendly play? So that's what our kind tribe is all about. It's a friendship circle that gives purpose to unity. Okay. And you'll see on my arm here, if I pull my sleeve up, I've got, let me do this.
You're gonna have to describe it for there's no video for most folks here.
Guys,
So
for some of you, you won't be able to
he's rolling up his left
see it.
sleeve. He's got
Left
a
sleeve,
watch and a couple of bracelets, and he's got Ubuntu on his left forearm. All right.
Ubuntu. This tattoo arose as a reaction to somebody from the Crow tribe who's from South Africa, and he actually grew up. He looks like a white guy, but he grew up around this concept of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is, and I'll say this to you, Brian Vaughn, I think you have a lot of Ubuntu in you. There's something about the way that we identify ourselves is as a member of a, a community. My identity is not just because of who I am, it's because of who we are. And who are we as a group? I love that. So I even got it tattooed on my arm because I'm a white guy.
When
And
did you get that? When did you get that tattoo? That's pretty recent, right?
about a month ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought it was fresh,
very,
man.
very fresh. And I think your questions are good because what it is you are always saying stop for us before you divert.
Yeah, you're doing it right now. So I'm gonna re-divert you, man. The tattoo. I'm wondering about tattoo artists put all kind of things on people, and that's an intimate. I'm gonna decide to have this be prominent for everybody to see when they see me.
That's
What did
right.
the tattoo artist say about Ubuntu? Did he or she know what it was? And when you explained it, how did he or she respond?
She did not know about it. And as I explained it, she says, wow, that's cool. Actually, she
Right.
lives up in Kingston, up near you. And
Oh,
that's where I got the tattoo done, is right in Kingston, next to the law office where
oh
our
yeah.
friend Jessica used to be.
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
she's moved to Silverdale, by the way. Anyway, I went ahead and got an additional copy of this book for my tattoo artist. I'm waving this to the
Ah,
camera.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
This
Everyday
book
Ubuntu is the name of the book that
is
was
right,
introduced
and
to
it
us
was
by.
written by uh, a woman named Mungi Nomani, and she is the granddaughter of Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And she says there's a way to live where we identify as a tribe, as a group, and that my identity is blended in to who we are as a group. I thought that was great because I tell you, to be a realtor, well, okay, I always thought that was, and I did realty for years. And doing realty means you put on a certain costume, you put on a certain act, you do certain things. And the truth is, it never felt deeply satisfying to me. I sold a lot of stuff, and I did it in California, did it in Hawaii, did it here in Washington. But I think there's something for all of us to listen and hear from this, which is we can live an inauthentic life our whole freaking career and never touch the gold inside. And I think that's a big part of what the Crow Tribe is about is let's see the gold in people and let's appreciate that gold and the difference of how it shows up in you or me or Amp or Steve Mason or all these other characters. Uh,
Well, you're right, Forrest. That's why I like to ask the question why about just about anything. If people, why did you get Ubuntu? I mean, there's so many whys that are the real thing,
yes.
as opposed to the what questions. You know, what do you do for a living? But the why
Yeah.
is a more interesting answer, right? The
Yeah.
responses to that. So I do
Good.
like that. my friend, we could go on and on and on, and we generally do, but
Sure.
to make these podcasts consumable that suit the attention span of the average person,
Yeah.
for those listening, that Forrest has picked up on what NLWBC is an inviting community. So I really focus on, well, welcoming is something, but more importantly, I encourage people to invite people into their life,
Nice.
including to be deliberate about some things, including inviting otherness, which
Nice.
could be otherness of culture, but otherness of thought is something that's not so obvious. And I want people and in this day and age, we have people who have different politics and a different political view.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And not all those conversations can be had in a healthy way, but some of them can.
Sure.
And I think that's how to diffuse some of the angers, is to somebody who disagrees with you say, I'd like to talk some more about that. And I'd like to hear more about what you say.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about why you feel that way and how you got to be that way. I think if people ask those kinds of questions,
Good.
ask why questions of each other, we could diffuse some of this combativeness, and maybe, I don't know, because just war is not the answer, man. And I can relate to stuff you talked about, because I was well, I'm not as tall as you, but I was a tall-ish kid, and people had to go pick on the tallest kid in school at a certain age. And I do feel like, as well, I'm an old man now, but it did shape me, and why I decided a long time ago that I'm not going to be combative.
Yes.
That is, this doesn't work. And so anyway, there's other stories to tell, but I appreciate your perspective, and we're going to have many more of these kinds of stories, brother. So, because I guess before we take off, I want to hear, you said you got a book that's being printed now.
Yes.
So in the next, say 6 months, what's next 6 months look like for Forrest Arnold and the Kind Tribe? And
nice. Very nice. Thanks. Those are good, great questions. Well, I've got a publisher called Palmetto Publishing, and I'm liking their responsiveness and their professionalism. They are now printing my little book. It's a short book. It's maybe 50 pages long, hardback. And what it is, it gives a step-by-step way to prolong your life. It gives a step-by-step way to focus and to hold your balance about money, about purpose, about friendships, about redesigning your life as time goes by, and crack off some of the stuff that doesn't really authentically express who you are. Okay. So
give me the title of that book again. So just for those listening to hear again.
The book is called How to Age Gracefully on the Ageless Path. How to Age Gracefully on the Ageless Path. That book's being printed, and so while I'm awaiting copies to arrive, I'm building the next book. I've got the next book, which is How to Divorce with Class and Compassion. How to Divorce with Class and Compassion. And there's I've got some experience in that in that area too. So I'm a believer in meditation. Yeah.
Love to hear more about that. So when for the listeners, if somebody wants to reach you, how would you recommend they reach you?
Thank you.
You mentioned a website. Is it ourkindtribe.com, or is there a different way to
phone
or email address?
That's being developed now, but where there is an active website, I'd love you all to go and take a look at theagelesspath.com. Theagelesspath.com, all strung together. And
basis, okay.
Yeah, and you'll see some videos. You'll meet me in video form, and you'll see the day-by-day recommendations of how do we focus on the most important priorities for each of us, to be uplifted, to be authentic, to be smarter about money. Like I say, all around the world, Brian, you might know this, there are people, older people, that are living longer than their financial resources will keep them. And that's pretty scary. When people wonder, where am I going to live and how am I going to pay for it? We're not kidding around here. This is a tough future. And so in these next 6 months, I will be building ourkindtribe.com. That website will be up and running very soon. And it gives people a chance to join our kind tribe. No money, no discussion of politics. It's a way to play on a field where there's other people who value connection and learning about the cultures of others, learning about difference, learning about people with different color skin and hair and customs. So I think I'm even going to invite you. Okay? I'm even going
Yeah,
to.
he's saying this as if he hasn't already invited me. So, well, I love that thought, brother. And we're gonna kind of put a button in it for today on that message, because as you can, for those listening, Forrest has picked up on the kindness element of how you can see why he and I are friends. That to be inviting, including inviting of otherness, not just people who are just like me, but in fact, that's my purpose, I think, just to attract all kinds of otherness and invite them, not just hope that they come, but invite them and ask. So there's this thing called a telephone, and it's really an amazing way to be a connector.
Can I write that down?
Yeah, don't miss that. So for now, this episode of we'll say this episode of Crow Tribe Conversations, the namesake. It was inspired by our good friend Forrest, who's right here with us, so we don't want people to forget that he's the one who came up with that, and I like it. So thank you, my friend. We're going to do some more sometime. Make it a great 6 months, make it a great 6 minutes, and go invite some others into your life one way or another.
I love it. Great. You're doing a great job, Brian. Thank you so much for our chat today and our chat in the past and our future conversations. Looking forward to it.
Likewise, brother. Mahalo. Aloha.
Mahalo.